Loosen, loosen, baby. You don't have to carry the weight of the world in your muscles and bones. Let go, let go, let go. That tune is from my beloved friend, song leader, Ali Halpert. And it's been playing nonstop in my mind this week. We're closing out this week with a lot in the world, a lot of storms in the world, and a lot of storms in our hearts and our homes amongst this great turning. And the great turning is this time of upheaval and dismantling and weeding and transition. We've said for years here at the Lola community, we are on the transition team, and it requires a tremendous amount of strength and courage. And we are being called not to just be in the information realm, but to be in the integration realm. And so really shifting gears here in our community towards not as much information, but more integration. And here's the thing with that, it requires, I talked about this last episode, but it requires a slowdown. The pace of integration is different than the pace of information. Right? The pace of integration requires you to establish for yourself in your current season of life what that means for you. So it requires more like conversation and leadership and reflection and kind of sacred pause in order to see where the parts are, to see where the emotion is rising, to see what's being revealed deeper in your psyche, in your ego, in your daily life. And so a lot less tools and tips for good sleep habits and things like that, and much more, where's your breath? Where are you seeing clearly the next right action? And sometimes that's rest. Sometimes that's the next right action is nothing. Today, I want to talk about the land, and we are moving. We're just I'm watching the moon. It's waning. She's getting smaller. I'm not seeing as much of her. And it's reminding me of the sacredness of the new moon cycle, the new Hebrew month, or the dark moon cycle. And the dark sky, in relationship to the trauma that our earth is experiencing with extremes, right? Extreme floods, extreme fires, extreme weather, just sort of that fluctuation of extreme. You know, we have earth element in us. This is really the basis, the foundation for elemental healing, is we see ourselves mirrored in nature. It is us and we are them or her, and we're just mirroring each other. So the storms and the trauma of the land and the earth, by prioritizing anything other than elements, humans, land, and regeneration, has led to this deep extraction. And the extraction, this is really based in all of kind of the spiritual ecology world, is like, we can no longer separate the psychology of the human with what we're seeing with the land, with the earth, with our world. And so spiritual ecology is really bringing all of this together We're bringing in the storms outside that are happening inside. We're working with the storms inside in order to be present with the storms outside and make clear actions, aligned actions that make sense for the world we are dreaming of, the world to come, that we're on the team of. And there are some myths or stories that this time in the stars reflects the same time as the Noah's Ark story. So this extraction doesn't work. Not for our work, not for our careers, not for our land. We can't just keep pulling the nutrients out of the land or the people and expecting to bypass the reality of the elements that we are made of and the world is made of, and that regenerative quality beyond sustainability. It's not even sustainability anymore. It's now regeneration. What are practices? What are relationships? What are things I can focus on that are regenerating? Art, dance, poetry, community healing, crying, sacred water practice, reading delicious poetry and storytelling, sharing grief, right? Passing grief, passing pain, dissolving, metabolizing, digesting our experiences. This all needs sacred prayer and sacred space and sacred time. And prayer can just be your gratitude practice for being aware of these elements, aware of maybe your most comfortable blanket can be your prayer. Thank you for this incredible support blanket in this moment, or delicious, nourishing, fresh, clean water. The year coming up with this waning moon it's the turning into 5782, the next Jewish calendar, Hebrew calendar year, and the Hebrew calendar is lunar. So it's really harmonious to follow just the intentions of the lunar cycle and the meanings of the months in this tradition, because of how much it lines up with nature and really helps us tune into our inner life. And so this year coming up is a Shemitah year, or a release year, or a sacred sabbatical year, or a rest year. Lots of different ways of looking at it. We'll be doing a community conversation about it this weekend. And then in the channel that I have on Jewish mysticism, tarot, moons, rituals, Kabbalah, I'll be definitely talking about Shemitah all year, creating our mini Shemitah release projects, and learning more about what that release means and why it's so powerful that this tradition would have in it every 7 years to rest and release and let things regenerate. And so how do we do that in our own life? What does that mean for us? What do we decrease? What do we increase? And the moon cycle teaches us that each month, but also how do we continue to deepen? How do we continue to, and really when I think of deepening, it really is that integration, you know, it really is like presencing in your own life. Where are you distracted? Where do you feel dis-ease? And these are all of the same principles of Ayurveda. That's what I love so much, is all of these teachings just completely weave into interconnectedness, into sacred, ordinary life now. And this elemental healing, when we feel disturbed or chaotic, that we can take off our shoes and put our feet on the ground to embody the earth, to connect to the earth, and to let the earth heal us together, like that we're doing that together, is really powerful. And if we're feeling too heavy, too lethargic, too kind of drawn down, that we can bring in consciousness, spiritual connection, looking up at the sky. I can see we have such a blue sky this morning, in order to lighten ourselves. So using elements to integrate and to really be strategic around balancing our mind, body, soul is what we're being called to do in this world of dis-ease and disharmony. And this really is all we have. I want to close with this radical gratitude spell. I've read it many times. I've shared it many times. It sits right here next to in my office, or my sacred sanctuary, I call it. And this is by Adrienne Marie Brown. And I'm going to read this and then I'll close with the loosen. But I really just want us all to be held in the great love today. Whenever you hear this, however you feel this, however you listen, whatever you're hearing, may it be of service to your heart, to your life, to your life plan, your healing elemental plan. And may you find some alignment into Shemitah, into release that makes sense for you, so that we can regenerate for the future. We need courageous warriors who are willing to do the deep work of healing inner life in order to pull back and heal outer life. Radical Gratitude Spell by Adrienne Marie Brown. You are a miracle walking. I greet you with wonder. In a world which seeks to own your joy and your imagination, you have chosen to be free every day as a practice. I can never know the struggles you went through to get here, but I know you have swum upstream, and at times it has been lonely. I want you to know I honor the choices you made in solitude and honor the work you've done to belong. I honor your commitment to that which is larger than yourself and your journey to love the particular container of life that is you. You are enough. Your work is enough. You are needed. Your work is sacred. You are here, and I am grateful. Loosen, loosen, baby. You don't have to carry the weight of the world in your muscles and bones. Let go, let go, let go.